Welcome guys to this new video, and in this video we're going to see how to handle the functionality for our search bar component, because so far in our code we've handled the functionalities for our adding icons, editing and delete icons, and now we can actually add, edit and delete students from our data table. But what we want to do now is we want to implement this search functionality such that you can search for records on this table and have only the searched records display on our data table. So we're going to move over to our code, and what we want to do is we want to attach an event listener to this search bar component. So far we just have this search bar component, and it's simply an input field, as you can see, with a placeholder of search, class name, search bar for some styling, and that's just it. So it's just an input field. But what we want to do is we want to attach an event listener to this input field such that each time we press a button or each time we do something, we can actually search for that record, and I'm going to do just that, attaching that event listener. And now we have this unchanged event listener in this input field. And what we practically want is each time there's a change in the input field, we want to grab that change and set the value of a set query state, because this set query is actually going to be a state, and this state is going to hold the current value of this input field. So what we want to do is whatever we type in the input field, which we are going to get that with this event.target.value, then we use the to lowercase string method to convert whatever we type to lowercase, and the trim method to remove any white space from. That's in case someone you hit a space bar before typing whatever you typed into the input field. Want to trim for any white space that's before and at the end of the string that is typed into the input field. Then we set that value as the value of the query state. So what we want to do now is we want to create this query state. So I'm going to move ahead to where we have our imports. Sorry, to where we have our states. And I'm going to put this state over here. So we have this query state, and this query state is just a string which is initially set to an empty string, because initially we have no value for, that's the value of the text field or our search bar. The value of this input field is empty initially, so we have to set the initial state of this to a null string or to an empty string. Now that we have our state, that's the query state, and we have our event listener set up, what we want to do is each time our query changes, because what we are saying here is we are picking up any change in this input field. So each time there's a change, what we want to do is we want to filter for records that meet the current value in that input field. For example, let's say we type chain. We want to return any record that contains the name Jane. So if, for example, we have space Jane, we actually want to eliminate all the space, and that's where this trim method comes in, because we're using this trim method to remove any white space at the beginning or at the end of whatever is in this input field. And let's say we have capital Jane, for example. Let's say we type in here Jane. We want to lowercase this Jane before searching, because actually what we're going is we're going to lowercase the Jane, and we're going to lowercase all the records in our table, so that when we're searching, we're matching lowercase to lowercase. Alright, and what we want is the value in this input field, any value or any record here that matches or that contains this string in the input field is going to be displayed on this table. And we can actually do that using a simple filter method. Now, we should also take note that when we are searching into this field, we have just two main string fields in our table, the name field and the matrix field. So those are the two main string fields that we have in our table. So actually the value that we're searching, we're typing in here, what we want to do is we want to match for the name and the matrix, meaning if the name, or if any name or matrix contains the string in our search field, then we want to display that record. here on our data table. So we care less actually about these other fields because they're just integer fields and we don't really want to search for integers, but you can still do that using this search field. But in this example, in this tutorial, we're just going to search for the name and the magical fields. But if you want to add other fields, then it's pretty easy to do, and we're going to see how easy that is to actually hook up this searching functionality. So for now, we have to keep in mind our searching or we are sorting just for the name and the magical fields. So we're going to head back to our code, and what we want to do is we don't actually want to map through all the students, but we want to map only through the records which match the value of our input field or which match the current string in our input field. So we are going to filter our records or our student records for any record in which the name or the magical contains the string in our input field. And we know that that string now is currently stored in our query state. So I'm just going to come beneath here and I'm going to replace this students.map. So I'm just going to replace these students by this. Alright, so what we actually have now is this filter attached behind the students array, then the map attached behind all of this. So what we're saying is when you get the students array, filter all the students for which the name and the matricle includes the query. So we're using this lowercase property on both the student's name and the student matricle to make sure that what we're actually filtering or what we're actually trying to compare is the lowercase form of both the name and the inputs. We have to take note that we also transformed whatever is in our input field to lowercase. So now we're matching lowercase to lowercase, meaning that whatever we type into our search field or into our input field, we're converting that to lowercase and we're trying to match that against the lowercase form of both the names and the inputs. Now, if you want to add another field, what you have to do is, for example, if you want to attach or if you want to add another filtering field, let's say you want to filter not only by name and magical but also by gender, all you have to do is add another or statement here and do a student, that's a student dot gender to lowercase and all that jazz. So I'm not going to do that, but feel free to do so if you want to. So yeah, practically that's it for our searching. And now we're going to save this and preview in our browser and see if we actually get that we actually get the searched records when we try to search for a student. So I'm going to save now, and now if we try to search for records, say John, we see all the records including John or all the records containing a John displayed on our table. So we've got John here, we've got another John here, and yeah, let's say we search for son instead. And now we see all the records including a son. We have this Wilson, there's a son here too, and a son there too. And I'm going to search for matricles and search for an FE. You see this matricle with containing an FE, and there's no other matricle with an FE on our table. So yeah, now we're actually filtering, we're actually searching for records with or records that match well the value of our input field. And that's basically it for our search functionality, guys. Yeah, we are done for this video, and in the next video we are going to see how to implement the sort functionality where we want to sort records, that's order these records by name or by different fields on our table. For example, order the records by name in ascending or descending order, and so on and so forth. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video.